All right, ready when you are.
Good afternoon. Welcome. Sorry we're having some technical issues earlier. So we are ready to get started with our first lunchtime webinar with Jessica Walker of Jaw Speaks Digital. Now we are going to talk about social media and how to make use of your timeline. So Jessica, why don't you go ahead and get us started?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me here. First and foremost, I just want to let you all know that I'm really upset with Facebook right now. So we're going to go right into our webinar. Why is it messed up on my webinar, right? My webinar. But this is technology. So I wanted to talk to you all just really quickly about sharing your story online. So I've kind of went through the spiel already, so you have to excuse me if I'm stumbling just a tad bit. But I went through the spiel, and then we couldn't get it up. But you know what? You roll with the punches. Technology is what technology is. But what's so great about technology now, or what I can do now, is I can actually share my screen and go through my slides with you. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So first of all, you may be wondering, who the heck am I? So my name is Jessica. I go by Jaw Speaks. Originally, I was just Jessica. I wanted to come up with a name that would be spunky enough for me to separate myself from all the 50 million other Jessicas in the world. So I came up with Jaw Speaks. What I really truthfully did is I started to look at, and I'm sorry, I'm showing you guys this whole thing. I want to present this. What I started to do is I looked at how I can differentiate myself in the marketplace, right? How can I stand out from every other Jessica that's certainly out there? And so I started to look at my quirks, the things that made me unique and different. One thing about digital media is a lot of people tell you, oh, you can, don't duplicate what's already, or no, duplicate what's already been done. And I actually say, don't duplicate what's already been done. Be yourself. And so I'm not sure that's not going to play. Okay, fine. With this, I started to look at how artists put together their profiles and how they presented themselves. And I noticed that a lot of artists don't use their real name, right? Like Dr. Dre is not really Dr. Dre. He's not really a doctor, right? So,
I'm kidding.
How can I position myself and make myself, because there's 50 million Jessicas. When I Google search Jessica, 50 million people come up, and usually they are Caucasian. And I'm like, yeah, I'm a Black Jessica. I need to really stand out. How can I do that? So I looked at my initials. I looked at, so my initials are Jessica A. Walker, and that's not my maiden name, that's my married name. And so I looked at, okay, Jessica, how can I, okay, Jaw. Oh, I can use Jaw. And then I looked at, Jaws the movie, which has nothing to do with it. It's really just my initials. But then I look at Jessica Advocates Wellness. At the time, I was doing a lot with maternal mental health. And I really wanted to advocate for wellness in mothers. And I was like, that fits perfectly. So Jaw Speaks was born. So I teach experts how to authentically and confidently make technology work, really digital media work. I am a mother to 6 amazing kids, postpartum depression advocate, as I told you, and I have a PhD from the University of Google. What that means is a lot of YouTube. That means that I am self-taught through YouTube and utilizing a bunch of other means, but really truthfully, I fell into digital media. So now we can move on to, and then now my video wants to play. And so I really looked at what made me different. And so when you think about your story, why you should share your story is really truthfully important. We talk about storytelling, and a lot of people kind of touch on it, but nobody really dives into the essence of storytelling. You don't always have to share your story. You can actually share the story of others. But why it's so important that you share your story, at least pieces of it, is that you share your value, you showcase your expertise, and you get an audience that's excited to know you and want to know more about you. So we talked a little bit earlier about just sharing your story and how much should you share. It really truthfully just depends on how much you feel comfortable with sharing. How much do you want to tell people about yourself? I'm totally an open book, but really truthfully, it really is about liking, and trusting yourself first. Start there. I always tell all of my clients, you have to like, and trust yourself first before you can but before you can position yourself to have anyone else like, and trust you, you have to like, and trust yourself first. So when we look at leadership and when we look at self-promotion, it is your job to self-promote. It is your job to tell people how you can help them. It really truthfully is our duty. If we look at serving and we look at servantship, how we serve individuals. Our lives ultimately are all here to help someone else. We're all here to help someone else. We have a duty to do so. So when you share the right message with the right audience at the right time, that is how you definitely start to build a relationship, and how you really narrow down on how you serve them, what you can do to help them move from A to Z, or how your product can help them move from A to Z. And ultimately, you start to live out your purpose, because God placed us all here to live out our purpose. We're not supposed to struggle. We're not supposed to, go to work every single day just for money. We're ultimately supposed to be here to do what we're purposed to do, right? Our lives are here to do for other people. So you become the answer to someone else's problem. So we talked a little bit about Stephen
Burdick.
And Pastor Todd. And so I talked a little bit about the app system as well. The app system just means awareness, presentation, positioning, and then showing up. So if you want to look at it as apps, then you can look at it as that way as well. But really your awareness, as you can see here, this is all broken down, and I'll make sure I give you a copy of this as well if you want to share it with your group. But awareness is apps. When you think about the apps that are on your phone, I use Waze, and we talked a little bit about this earlier as well. And you use Google Maps. And for me, I like Waze, community driven. I'm able to tap into where I need to go. And then also people are telling me where the police is. It's really important to me. I want to know where they are so I can slow down if I'm driving too fast. I have a heavy foot. I really truthfully don't mean to do it, but I just kind of, and I'm out of there, right? Mm-hmm. So I definitely want to know where they are so I can slow down and kind of be condescending and kind of just be like, okay, I'm good. So I utilize Waze. When I go to Waze, I'm going to that specific app for a reason. So when you think about your brand, when you think about your product or your service, why are people coming to you? What is it that you're here to help them do? And you think about yourself in the app, in the app acronym here: awareness, presentation, and positioning. When you think about awareness, how are you going to show up? Who needs to be aware of you? That's your target audience. Your digital persona, which I didn't talk about before, but I'll talk about now. Your digital persona. Your digital persona is really an extension of you. So when we were talking earlier about just content and how you create content, how you come up with content, how you connect with these people, you really truthfully should be doing this anyway. You should be out networking, you should be out speaking, you should be out connecting with organizations and companies that need your services or that you're volunteering for. And really truthfully, all you're doing on social media is documenting that. And so when I tell a lot of my clients that, they're like, oh, that's all I have to do? Yes. All you're doing is documenting exactly what you already do, because you're already doing the work. Really, truthfully, all you're doing is now documenting it so that anyone else that wants to maybe follow up with you when they meet you in person, and I call it the digital background check. The digital background check is where someone finds you or meets you in person at maybe a networking event or somewhere where you're out, and they're like, oh, wow, I met Jessica. She's super, super, super dope. And I use dope a lot. She's dope. Oh my gosh, I want to connect with her. Let me see if she's really who she says she is. And they go and they search Instagram. They go and they search Facebook. And if someone Google searches you and they can't find anything, that limits your credibility. It really diminishes how much they trust you. Is this person really who they say they are? Because who's not using social media right now? And what's the number one? It's really a social media tool that we use. The number one tool that everyone uses. What is it? Google. Yeah. Google, right? Everybody uses Google. And when we come online, we're going online for one of three things: information, education, or entertainment, right? The best accounts, as I always say, they can do all three of those and seamlessly. And you don't have to be entertaining. And you can be entertaining towards your level of entertainment, right? It doesn't mean you have to be totally goofy like me and out with it. You really truthfully can say the level of professionalism and just come across in a way that you're relating your information and your content. But when we go online and we search Google, we're looking for a specific thing. You will come up in those search results if you're able to utilize your platform and, just like I said, document what you're already doing.
So let me ask you a question. For someone who is new to the social media realm, to the entrepreneurship world, what does that documentation process, the process look like? If I have a product, is it just constantly repeating pictures of my product? Like, how do you come up with a way to document my service or product without so much repetitiveness?
Okay, so that goes into kind of telling your story. That goes into telling the story of your product.
Yeah.
So let's say you have, I'm going to use this cup, right? So I have this cup, and this is my product, right? I love this cup because it has like little sprinkles in it. And I'm a sugar head. I love sugar. So with this cup, I'm not going to only just show you the picture of the cup and go, here, buy my cup, buy my cup. And a lot of people do this, by the way. They do this with their brand, everything. Buy this cup, buy my service, buy my service. Oh, by the way, I'm doing a webinar. By the way, I'm selling this thing. Buy my course, buy my course. What you want to do is go, this is the cup. This is how you use the cup. These are some of the other ways you can use this cup. This cup can be drunken out of. Ooh, look at me. I'm drinking iced tea out of this cup. It's so refreshing. I love this cup. Oh, this mug has a handle. You can put hot, your tea and everything in it. So it does both things. Oh, I love this cup because it has a handle. People will automatically start to, you don't always have to say sell, sell, sell. You don't always have to position it that way. If you show the use for it, people are automatically, just because that's the way we are as humans, go, oh, where can I get that? I like it. So I want to do it. I want to use it.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
It'll automatically just happen and flow that way. So you definitely, and then tell the story. How was the cup made? Where did the cup come from? Like I said, uses for the cup. Who else is using the cup? Get some testimonials of people that have used the cup. How is it benefiting their lives, right? Value. Everything is just about what value can you bring into my life, right? Even with a cup, it brings me value. It holds my juice. I can't hold my juice in my hand and drink it. I have to have it in this cup. Right? So when you think about your brand as a service provider or your product, if you sell a product, what value does it bring? And then how can you position that in your stories?
Okay.
So we move on to presentation. This is all pretty self-explanatory with the presentation. It really truthfully is just about what you want to convey, the emotion you want to connect to, right? It's all about facts and feelings. Breaking down marketing is really truthfully about facts and feelings. Positioning yourself, where are you going to position yourself? How do you plan to deliver your content? And then showing up, just actually doing the thing, actually just showing yourself. So engagement is really important. Audience involvement, building a real brand is a long, slow back and forth process. So many people want it to just happen. It does not just happen. I've been doing this for 5 years, almost 6 years now. And I'm just now at a place where people are like, oh, digital Jessica. Go, okay. Social media, Jessica, right? So what would you like to show today? Accepting and acknowledging the importance of your story. So that's what I want you guys to understand. The importance of your story, embracing your authentic self, and the types of stories that you can share. We already went through the apps. Know, like, and trusting yourself first is just key. That's first and foremost. And like I said before, I have this action plan that you can really go through that will help you kind of identify your why. With a lot of my clients, we go as far back as their elementary school days. And I'll talk a little bit about those tools in just a moment. But we go as far back as like their elementary school days of what they used to do when they were in elementary school, when they were teenagers, what did people come to them for? We really move into this process because with your top 3, which is another thing we talk about, your top 3 is what you're going to share on social media. So let's say you have this product in this cup. What else revolves around this product in this cup that are ultimately either you or in connection with this cup? So you have the product, but who's using the product? That would be another one. Maybe community or music or movies, something to that effect that you can tie in with the cup. So let's say this cup was so for sugar, what movies could I tie in that have like cupcakes in it or, different things like that you could say, what movie could have really used this cup? The Terminator. I'm saying that's an example, but you can really truthfully tie in different things that are happening. And as we were talking earlier, one of the 3 things that people are coming into the internet for, once again, is information, education, or entertainment, right? They're coming to the internet for those 3 things. If you share your top 3, they're usually going to fall into one of those 3 categories. Okay. And when people go to search for you, they'll be able to find you if you're utilizing those correctly.
Okay. Now, I do have some very specific questions.
Yeah.
Hashtags. We've all heard about hashtags and trying to figure out the mystery of hashtags. For someone who's new to social media or maybe has been in business for a long time but can't quite figure it out, are hashtags important? What do we do with them? And what do I do?
Got it. Okay. So with hashtags are important because like with the whole phone book, back in the day, when you needed anything, you would go to the phone book. You would go to the phone book, you would go to a particular category. So all the plumbers were put together, all of the dentists were put together, the doctors were put together, so on and so forth, right? With a hashtag, it really truthfully is just that category. Instead of being alphabetized, right? It's more of the hashtag is defining where you're going to get that particular thing from that particular person or product, so on and so forth. So let's say, for instance, like I said, with my daughter's prom, we wanted to find someone in our local area who could do her hair. So we went and we did a hashtag of Sacramento weave, right? And all these women came up that do weave, right? And so we were able to go to their individual profiles and look, really truthfully, Instagram is kind of like your portfolio. We can go to their portfolios and look and see their different styles that they do, pick one from their styles, and then move forward with the individual that we found, right? We found one that was in our price range, the style that we wanted, so on and so forth. So when you think about your hashtag, you're really truthfully just branding yourself and putting yourself in a category so that people can find you. So if I were to utilize hashtags for myself, I'm going to use digital media, social media, leadership, because I deal with a lot of experts in the field. I find that my audience is predominantly, they're higher up on the leadership field. They are experts in what they do. They are busy doing the work that either they don't have time, but they know they should be utilizing social media or digital media. They just don't know how to have the time and they don't know what to do. And so I make it easy for them. I've had a lot of clients tell me, I just want to make technology work. I'm going to make it work for me. I know I'm supposed to be using it. I want to make it work. And that's kind of where I came with this whole title. It was from listening to my audience and hearing them say they want to make social media work.
Okay. Now, you talked about brand products. I've also encountered entrepreneurs, women entrepreneurs in particular, who have amazing, fantastic products, but they do not necessarily want to attach their face to the product or attach any face per se. Can you speak a little bit about the importance of attaching a person to a product?
Well, I think I've had this conversation actually recently several different times, and I think this is a great point for me to go into my little presentation about YouTube.
Okay.
And so within YouTube, and can you see YouTube here?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. All right, so within YouTube, we have Pastor Michael Todd. If you don't know who Pastor Michael Todd is, you got to find him and you got to listen. That's all I can say. But Pastor Michael Todd is a pastor, not Elevation Church. His church is
Transformation Church.
Say it again?
Transformation Church.
Transformation, thank you. Transformation Church. Now, when Pastor Todd started, he didn't start off with, this big following and all this good stuff. He started off by just, serving his audience, right? And I'm to stay with me because I'm definitely going to tie this into products and brand messaging. When he started off, he just started off by utilizing YouTube and talking about those same things that other people in his industry were talking about and utilizing story to relate real life to the Bible, right? So he's using stories from the Bible to connect those to real life. What ended up happening is Stephen Burdick ended up finding him through YouTube because they were talking about kind of the same things. And so within that, he was able to listen and watch some of his videos and go, wow, I definitely need to bring this guy to Elevation Church. Mm-hmm. And I believe, I'm not 100% sure, but I believe it was Elevation Church and him speaking on that stage and sharing a message called, was it Marked? Sharing a message called Marked that truly propelled him into this whole sphere. It may have been, it may not be, but I know for me, that is when I came in contact with his content. The thing about all of this, right, is that elevated him to a new level. He's like speaking everywhere. Now when you go and search for him, Pastor Michael Todd, you'll see Elevation Church. You'll see Stephen. I can't see his last name, but you'll also see, and I'm looking for him. We just had him earlier. But you'll also see T.D. Jakes. Oh, there he is. Stephen Furtick, and then you'll see TD Jakes. Reason being, he's connected to now these experts in the field, right? And I call them social media pastors. Social media pastors who now connect to a bigger audience. He can get their audience now. The reason why your product needs to have a brand story. Now, it doesn't necessarily need to have your face. It can have, you know, if you want to assign a brand representative to be kind of the face of the brand. But right now, especially with social media, there has to be a story aligned with it, because once again, people are coming for education, information, or entertainment. And when there's a story, that's how we connect. That's just ultimately how we just spark. That's the reason why, if we think about it, I tell a lot of people when they get ready to write a book or when they're thinking about writing a book, what is the one book that everyone goes to in times of need, in times of doubt, whatever? What is the one thing that God kind of left behind for us to consult, right? It's content, and it's a book. It's the Bible, right? Story. All weave throughout there. It's story, 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 story. That's the way that we learn. It's the way that we connect. It's the way that we move from one point to another. It's really how we transform. We want to know that someone has either been through what we've gone through, and they were able to navigate it, or that somebody's worse off than where we are right now, right? And that kind of boosts us up too, like, oh, well, dang, my life ain't that bad, you know? So we really, truthfully need those stories to connect to. So we have something to hold on to. Like I said, it doesn't have to be your face. You can ultimately assign someone to be the face of that brand. It could be a logo. When we think about Tide or even Target, when we think about Target, we think of that logo. We don't necessarily think of stories.
Or the puppy.
Right. But even the puppy, those are micro stories, right? Yeah. And I'll talk a little bit about that when I go into types of stories. But those are micro stories, right? We see, oh, cute little puppy jumping around, and then you think about it, right? Starbucks, for instance, you know, we think about that logo. We don't really necessarily, I don't know the story of the logo, but I do know the story of the founder. I know, you know, how he really makes it customer centric, how he writes your name on the cup and why he writes your name on the cup, all that good stuff, right? So you really truthfully need those stories to connect so that you get brand loyalty. So that's truthfully why you need to have some type of face, not necessarily yours, but some face. And like you said, with the puppy, it doesn't even have to be a human. It can be a pet. It can be an animal, but something that people can connect to.
Okay. And I just have one more question.
Yeah.
So you mentioned the Michael Todd, Stephen Furtick, that collaboration, right? Stephen Furtick had Pastor Michael Todd on at Elevation Church on the platform speaking. What if, as an entrepreneur, I don't have access to a bigger name in my industry?
Yeah.
What do I do?
Serve your audience. Serve, whether it's one person, 2 people, 5 people, serve that person. Because ultimately, and here's what happens, I'm trying to think of an easy way to share this without, because I want to give you guys, I'm not the type of person that holds back, right? I don't do a lot of webinars, truthfully, because I just feel it all. I just can't. And usually people kind of give you webinars so you get a taste and then move forward. But within this, right, I want to show you guys just really quickly, and I'm going to stop sharing real quick to see if there's an easy way for me to share this with you. And I think there may be. But I'm going to go to Facebook really quick, and I'm going to show you guys why it's important that you just serve your core audience and you don't worry about getting on someone else's platform just yet, because those things will ultimately come. So when you, like I said, remember when we talked about the long, slow, drawn out process of building a brand, this is the piece of it. You have to start with one step, but then as you take another step and you start to elevate, then you start to get awareness, really, because you're stealing your audience. And they're like, wait a minute, who y'all paying attention to? What's happening? Where's the conversation? Because social media is all about either starting a conversation, jumping into a conversation that's already happening, which usually happens on Twitter, right? Or you're continuing a conversation that you had in person and now you're bringing it online and you're connecting with an individual from there. So if we go ahead, and I have my Facebook up here, and I'm just going to go to my Facebook page, and I'm going to show you guys something really quick. I don't have a gazillion followers. I haven't shared the stage with anyone big in my industry just yet. I don't really focus in on that too much. I focus in on sharing and connecting with my core audience of people. Now, it's bigger than 88 people. I do have other platforms that I share on, but on my Facebook page, when you go here, you're going to see content that I've placed here, but you're also going to see interviews that I've done. Okay. And individuals that are going to search for, let's say with Olivia Scott. Olivia Scott does the Essence Fest. She's worked for Carol's Daughters before. She was actually their chief of marketing. She's worked for Vibe magazine. For me, huge deal. Okay. Vibe magazine was like, oh my gosh, like the thing when I was a teenager. So I'm like digging into it. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm like totally, geeking out by speaking to her. But what this is doing is positioning me. So when someone goes to look for Olivia Scott, they'll ultimately find me. This is why I say it's so important to serve your core audience. When they come to this page, they're either going to instantly say, oh, yes, I connect with Jessica. I definitely want to follow her and get more information. Or they're going to leave and go, yeah, no, this is not the place for me. But what ends up happening is you'll get comments, you'll get likes. And what the algorithm will do is they'll start to bring more people to that page that will start to resonate with what you're talking about. Okay. Just with even promoting this webinar, right? I've gotten, more stuff pushed towards me about Christian leadership and things to that effect. So when you get out there and you start to promote in that realm, you'll start to see more people that'll come to you and connect with you and want to truthfully buy your services. Don't worry about being on a bigger platform. Worry about sales. Okay. Sales is where you need to be at. Worry about selling.
And good content is what
good content is what's going to drive your sales. Okay. I wouldn't worry too much about building a large audience and having a bunch of people. You'll get there. Right now, focus on selling because that's ultimately how your business will stay sustainable. You're not going to stay sustainable if you don't have money. Well, so focus on your sales.
What if I'm not an English major? What if I'm not a grammarist and I don't have the best vocabulary and things of that nature? Do I still post? Do I still share? Does it matter?
Absolutely. And I would say to speak from your heart anyway. Even if you feel like it's because there's someone else out there and I'm a grammar mess up all day. And I'll get people DMing me and my digital friends like, hey, you might want to go recheck that post. I'm like, oh yeah, let me, let me go back and fix it.
Okay.
The main focus and the main thing you need to understand is your value. It's so much more important than you just thinking about, what are people going to say or what are someone going to think? Because ultimately, guess what? Any way that you speak or any way that you may say something or come across, someone else is going to resonate with it and go, oh, I know exactly what she's talking about. Or I know exactly what she's trying to say, and they're going to either get something from it. But the big thing about it is to stand out. And if you're not good at, like me, with grammar and stuff, and I find that sometimes that held me back. And I got to a point where I was like, oh, I'm not going to post because I don't want to say anything. And I was like, what? I got to a point. I know what I'm doing. I'm good at what I do. And those people that resonate with what I do and can see from the pictures and the videos, they'll come to me. If you're bad at grammar, do more video, and just all you have to do is do a video, put a call to action link. Mm-hmm. If you want more anyone can say, if you want more information, click here.
No, that's true. Uh-huh.
Right? So definitely look at, it doesn't have to be a long drawn out post. Don't blog. I don't blog. I know I'm bad at grammar. I don't blog. I actually pay someone else to create my blogs. I'm not doing it. And it got to a point to where that's what I had to understand. I don't have to be the be all of everything. I need to be good at doing video, good at teaching people how to use digital media. That's my job. That's what God put me here to do, to bring more people of education that have great value to the digital media space, because there's too much craziness in digital media. And this is where our kids are. So ultimately, my whole reason and my purpose behind doing all of this isn't just so you promote your business and all that good stuff. Well, that's great. I want people that actually have something of value to share with a larger audience that will bring and be an example for our kids. Really, truthfully, I want you to show up as an example so that when my kids go on social media, they can say, oh, she looks just like me and she has a business and she does X, Y, and Z. Now I can definitely do that. I don't have to go twerk to try to get likes, which is no money, by the way. I can start a business. I can, have a cup product that I sell, just like her. So that's why I really truthfully advocate really, really, really passionately about utilizing digital media and sharing your story and showing up as who you are authentically.
Okay. Well, Jessica, again, we have Jessica Walker here. She is a digital strategist with Joss Speaks Digital. If Are there any final words before we wrap up?
Yeah, so let me just show you guys really quickly because I know you have to roll. I'm going to show you guys really quickly the types of stories, and then we can go ahead and close it out because I just want to make sure that I'm bringing that at least to a close, right? I told you guys I was going to tell you the types of stories, your personal story, and you don't have to tell it all, right? Tell someone else's story. So this can be an interview. It could be going back in history and talking about some things that have happened and transpired over history, then relating it back to your business. Micro stories. Oprah Winfrey is really good at this. If you go to Oprah Winfrey's YouTube channel, you'll see that with her master classes, she'll usually just share a snippet of the master class and then want you to go to her website to watch the rest or go on to your network or wherever. Micro stories are really good. Teaching. Story doesn't always have to be just about you sharing, the story of itself in and of itself. It could actually be like we're doing here, teaching. And then as you can see as well, I talked a little bit about kind of some of the things I overcame, so on and so forth, right? Entertaining stories where you're just talking about something that may have happened to you. I told you my story about Waze and why I love Waze as an app. And commentary, just commenting and sharing about what's going on and how it relates to either to your life or what's happening in that moment or how it relates to your product. You can also share social commentary on news, so on and so forth. So that kind of brings it around about. Hopefully, if you guys have any questions, you can feel free to definitely reach out to me, and I'll also give you guys access to the action plan. And if you want the slides as well, you can definitely dig into those as well.
Okay.
So thank you so much.
Thank you again, Jessica, for being our first lunchtime webinar speaker. And hopefully we'll see you again. We'll have some interaction with you, Jessica Walker of Joss Speaks Digital. Thank you all so much for watching, and that's it.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much for watching. Any questions? Joss Speaks Digital on all social media platforms. DM me. I'm totally willing and able to answer all of your questions. Have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for having me here.